Trivia's Inspirational Radio would like to inform you that the views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in the following show are solely the sentiments of the participants of the show. Trivia's Inspirational Radio Network is not responsible for content. As always, thanks for watching and enjoy the show.
Hey y'all, I'm so excited. Happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday. Your girl is excited. Today we're going to be talking about some unapologetically unplugged conversations, and I have my girl on here. Talk about Butterby Rocker. Let's just go crazy. I'm going to do my own sound effects. Yeah! I am so happy on today. I hope everyone is having an amazing Tuesday. Prayerfully, your week is off to an amazing start. And I say, mindset is everything. Even if things are feeling like they're challenging right now, maybe you're feeling a little bit discouraged at this time and you're saying, you know what, I don't even know how I'm going to see or face it through the next day. I want you to know that every day that you wake up, every day that you have breath, that gives you another chance to be able to get back on your game and to be able to make that thing happen. So I want you guys to make sure that you take care of you in any and everything that you do. I am so excited to have this amazing woman on the platform. For those of you who do not know her, Butterby Rocker is an international recording artist. She is an executive film producer. My girl's a script writer. She is an actor. I'm telling you, the accolades just don't stop. She does a little bit of everything, and she's an author on top of all of that. Let's, guys, just please give it up for my girl, Butterby Rocker. Butterby Rocker, let's let them know how you doing today.
I am doing excellent. Your introduction and your hypeness got me high.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So before we even get into anything, I first of all want to say thank you to you. You sold into me, and I don't even know if you know that. I would say it was like 2 or 3 years ago. I was doing the She Said Yes to Herself Unapologetically Summit. And Dr. Kevin Vaughn, who's an amazing man of God, and he's also doing our tech for the summits, and he sent this information out across his networks. And baby, listen, I didn't say nothing, but when I saw your thing saying that you were interested in coming to the summit, your girl was losing it. I was trying to act very calm and, like, okay, like, yeah, but behind the scenes, I'm screaming, I'm telling the queen, girl, guess what? I'm all going crazy, but I was just trying to be real professional. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Sure, this thing happens all the time. You know what I mean? And it really sold into me. It made me feel like what I had value. And when I asked you, what made you want to participate? You were like, well, I love what it's saying, what the saying is about. She says yes to herself unapologetically. So I wanted to thank you publicly for just willing to be able to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to lend my voice to this summit. I'm going to be able to speak to women about saying yes to themselves, about being unapologetic, about being transparent. So I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for having the platform. Honestly, I was honored to be a part of it, and you had some dynamic speakers. I was taking notes. I was like, baby, when is the next one? Because it was so powerful with all of the people that you brought together. So I appreciate even, being a part.
Girl, like I said, it was a very humbling experience. I was appreciative of everything, but having you on there, and then you gave us the song, you performed and everything. I'm like, she's just amazing, just amazing. I can't tell me nothing bad about the lady. I'm just telling you, that's my girl right there. Every time I see something, I'm like, yes. And I've just been watching everything that you are doing, sis. And I just want to congratulate you and just salute all the things that you're doing. You're really showing women how they can truly take a hold of their life and not be able to just to feel as if things are happening to them and making things happen for themselves. And so I just want to salute you for all that you do. That leads me to one of my questions. Because you are so multifaceted, and you're acting and you're writing and you're being an executive film producer, you're singing, having so many different talents, what keeps you inspired and contributes to your creative process?
What keeps me inspired is my boys and seeing how they look up to me. They're very creative as well. And if they see that their mom is fearless and goes after her dreams and goes after her goals, I know that that is somehow going to be installed in them, to make sure that they will do the same thing, go unapologetically
Yeah.
after all of your dreams and goals and stuff like that. So they keep me motivated and inspired. You had a
I,
two-part to that.
I did. And my second part was, as you continuing on the fact that you're being creative, how does that influence what you do? The fact that you do all of these various things, how does that creativity kind of span off into those various assets?
It actually they actually really go coincide with each other, because when you think of it, films is being creative, writing books is being creative. I'm using all of my creative skills to just create. I'm just creating from different platforms. Music is creating. So all of these are different forms and stuff that I'm creating from. So
I love it. I love it. I recently saw you on the red carpet. I'm like, oh, look at my girl. You was just posting. You were saying congratulations to somebody. But I saw you just owning the red carpet. You could tell your girl was definitely supposed to be there. It just seemed like you was just supposed to be in the atmosphere. What is it like collaborating with other various artists, and who's been your favorite, if you can say favorite collaboration to date?
what's it like?
Hmm.
Well, I don't really have a favorite.
Okay.
I appreciate working with whomever. I see every opportunity as just that, an opportunity. You never know. What I try to do and hope to do is not just make it about the opportunity, but about nourishing the relationship with that
Mm.
person, so that it can lead to wherever it leads to. And typically what happens is one thing leads to the next. So I don't take any of the relationships that I have for granted. I try to make sure that I mix and mingle with a little bit of everybody, and be as transparent and as pleasant as I can be, and just authentically be myself.
Mm. Mm. I like that. Um, First, let me go back because I noticed that your son recently had a birthday. So happy belated birthday. I saw when you posted. You can tell that your family is a very intricate part of who you are. If you're not talking about them, you're talking about your amazing husband, and seeing the two of you guys together and the fashion statements that you guys are both making. What does it feel like to have your family come along for the ride?
Family is everything to me, and I have to really go back, because my mom is the one that steered it in me.
Mm.
When I was young, she was my manager. And so she pushed me at a very young age and taught me to believe in myself, and showed me the power of family and of family strength together. So
Mm.
she pushed me, so therefore I pushed my kids, and we all work with each other on everything. I'm doing my film festival. My mom's at the front handling
Ah.
handling the tickets. Terrence is there. He's either handling, of course he's handling security, but he's also handling either the red carpet, or he's doing behind the scenes photos and videos and stuff like that. He also handles the social media. The, my
Nice.
my oldest son is running the sound and the videos at the event, and Christian, my
Mm.
my youngest son, he's my co-host. So it's a family affair all around. And then my sister makes my merchandise.
Talk about it. Talk about keeping it in the family. I love it. And I like that because it makes the family feel apart. They don't feel like the disconnect. You know what I mean? Because you made it a business that everybody has a place that they can shine in. And I think that that's so amazing because so many times when you're balancing work life and home life, those lines can get blurred and one can run into the other and just kind of take over and overwhelm the space. But because you brought your family into the space and made them an intricate part of your journey, it keeps you all grounded and keeps you all together. You have so many tremendous accolades. How are you able to stay humble, with all of these various things that you're doing? Like, how did you keep yourself grounded where you just don't have, so much pride and such a big head, which you really could, all the things that you're doing. So what really keeps you humble?
If I'm being very transparent,
Mm-hmm.
I have worked with a lot of major, and one just one just performed at the Super Bowl. Like I've performed with a lot of major people, right?
Yes.
And we're friends with a lot of people. But one thing that happened, I got into a car accident, and we was all at even playing fields with a couple of
Mm,
the people. We was at the same playing fields. And when I got into my car accident, I had two deals on the table, one with Warner Brothers, one with Sony Records. And this left me the car accident left me drinking from a straw for 6 months,
mm,
and it had dynamically changed. It took me a year to come back out, and when I did come back out, the deals were no longer on the table. One label had revamped, one label had just signed another young lady, and the third label that was interested in me, and I'm 18 at this time, they basically told me that I missed the boat. I was too old, because at that time they were signing the 12 and 13 Britney Spears age. So
oh,
I had missed the boat. Well, what happens is we was out on the same playing field. So all of us were doing these shows together in the studio together. You know, the labels came around the same time. So everybody's career was moving up. Well, their careers definitely jumped all the way up. I mean, big.
mm,
And not that you have to reach back, but um people didn't reach back. And
mm,
where I used to be able to be in the studio all the time, and I was around the families, and you know everything was copacetic, it kind of, I started becoming like an outsider. I started being treated like I wasn't on the same level anymore.
mm,
And that was something that didn't feel good. I mean, it messed with my self-esteem. It made me say, well, maybe I'm not good enough anymore. I mean, you go through
mm.
so many things that you think on yourself, to yourself, that
Yes.
haunted me and everything. And I knew that that's never how I would want to treat somebody. Now, I get the whole, if if you're already at a certain level and you got new people trying to come in, I get where you're guarded there, because you don't know everybody's intention. I have a lot of people that try to hang with me only because of the people that I know, the doors that I can get in, that type of stuff. So I get all of that. It's the,
Mm,
I grew up with you, we was working
mm,
together, we've
right.
been rocking,
Yes.
that is different from me. So that taught me to stay humble at all times.
Mm. I mean, sis, that's such a powerful lesson. And the fact that when you're talking, you don't see any bitterness. You know what I mean? Because first of all, just thank God that you were able to, your life was spared and you were able to be able to recoup from the accident. And then just making that transition back into this space that has changed in a year's time. You know what I mean? And just dealing with those challenges. How has your resilience in your professional life helped to carry you even in your personal life?
Resilience is a strong word in itself. I have become the master of pivoting. I have become the master of,
Mm,
you don't wait on nobody else to determine your fate. I'm not going to let your
yes.
opinion of me determine my fate, because I used to do those things. I
Mm-hmm.
used to say to myself, well, because they're not signing me, or because they're not putting me in the studio with them anymore, maybe I'm not. Maybe I am too old. Maybe, and I'm 18 years old. Maybe I am this, maybe I am
Girl.
that. And so I had to realize no one determines who I am but me. And
Yes.
so if I got to build my own doors, I'm going to build my own doors. And
Talk
so
about it.
I go for everything that I can absolutely conceive in my mind. This is what I believe.
Mm,
If God gives you the blueprint and you dream about it, that's a blueprint, right? And that's showing you that it's possible. That's showing you that it can
yes.
be done. And so I am just bold enough to say, I'm going to go for it. Now, whether I win or lose, I'm still winning because I learned from
Yes.
it and I'm moving forward. So I go, so you'll see me. Yep, I want to write a book. Yep, I wrote that book. Yep, I want to write a play. Yep, she did that play. Yep, she on that podcast. Like, I'm going for it. If I can see it in my head, oh, it's over.
I love it. I love it. That is so inspiring and it gives us hope because I don't know, there's no one on this earth who hasn't had to overcome a trying circumstance. And the fact that you're able to have that type of get back, that ability to be able to pick yourself back up and cheer and root for yourself and tell yourself to continue to strive, to continue to push, to continue to persevere is just so empowering. You know what I mean? And when you're in a space and you bring that type of energy into the space, it just changes the dynamic in the room. The room just totally shifts to be able to just to receive that energy. And so, like I said, that's just such an inspiration to the, I'm sure, to everybody who's watching, and to myself as well, because we've all had to have those pivot moments, you know, in our personal or even in our professional walks. And so I think that's just a powerful story. I wanted to ask you, what has it been like in the filming aspect of things? It seems like you are very comfortable in that space. And I'm going to get over to the acting part because I've been watching some of the things that you've been doing. But what is it like, you know, being behind the scenes? Because when you're recording artists, you know, you're in front, you know, you're singing directly, but as being an executive film producer, now you're more behind the lens. What was that change or adjustment like for you?
I actually love it. Okay, so here's the thing. With me, you're right. It's completely different being, in front of the mic, in front of the camera, that type of stuff. But behind that camera, I'm able to really tell you and show you everything that I'm thinking. So I have a
Mm.
film that I put out, Finding the Perfect Guy. I executive wrote, produced, directed, starred in, put my own music in it.
Come on.
Right, right. But
Yes.
but what I was able to do is, in that, what I'm so proud of is you get to see my writing, and you get to see it not just from my point of view, but you get to see these other people that I cast turn those characters, into life. And you get to
Yes.
see this is what she thought of. And you see in the cut every vision that I created. You're seeing it from all different levels. So
Mm.
the filming aspect is really cool because I'm able to create. It gives me, I'm able to create even more, if that makes
Mm.
any sense, because I can incorporate music, I can incorporate my words, I can incorporate my vision of how I see the setting, how I see where I want the actors to go. I'm incorporating everything that's in my mind. I'm putting it all on film. So I love it.
I like, you know, I'm a playwright, so I'm vicariously living through your eyes, through your journey. I would love to take one of mine and push it out into the atmosphere like that. I think it's so empowering because it's space where sometimes life can seem chaotic and as if we don't have any control of anything that's going on. When you're creating something like this, you have more control. It's a little bit more structured. Things are going the way you want it to, but it gives the audience an opportunity to see things from your lens, from your
Hmm.
perspective, from your specific talking points. And it kind of brings us closer to you in a sense, you know. And when you have those characters bringing these elements to life, you know, it's just like, wow, this thing is amazing because they're taking words that are on paper and then just breathing into them, and now they're living beings. And so it's just amazing. You've definitely made that transition and you made it so well. You know, it
Thank
seems like you were just supposed to always be in that vein. And so you're able to juggle all of these various things and do them all well, and nothing is lacking. So that's just truly a blessing in itself, the fact that you're able to multitask and multi manage various skills and abilities. So we talked a little bit about that with you as far as being a director, but what really inspires you to create a story? Like, what is there a specific space that you have to be in? Is it a mood? Are you creating because of a past experience or something that's become relevant to you? What kind of goes into that process?
So for me, for the first one that I wrote, it was
You got to say the
writing.
name. You got to tell everybody the name because if they ain't
God,
checked it out, they got to check it out.
right. My film is called Finding the Perfect Guy. It is streaming on 26 platforms.
Talk
So make
about
sure
it.
that you go and get it, or go and view it. But what inspired that is especially, and I can give this advice for, first time writers or people coming out, write about something that you know, right? So that
Mm.
was the first thing that I did. I took an idea and created a film about something that I knew. And so Finding the Perfect Guy is about when I was going through my divorce and now getting into this 2020 dating. I mean, it's a
Girl,
whole lot of characters out here,
baby, talk about
literally.
it.
So it was easy for me to write about what I knew, expand, of course, some of the parts aren't exactly my life, but it's still something that I've seen in other people who's been dating, or you expand upon what the character is doing. You might lavish a little bit, about the characters, but these are things that I knew. And so with that one, that was the reason why, or what inspired me to create that one. Now I am pushing myself to create beyond my comfort level and to go into different themes. So I might see a situation happening at the store, and it might give me an idea of what I should produce and stuff like that. So it just depends.
I love it. Being a woman in a primarily male dominated space, what is that like for you? Are you experiencing when you're amongst your peers? Is it welcoming and embracing you, or is it a little standoffish? What is it like for you just navigating in that space behind the scene as a producer and
It's
director?
definitely male dominated.
Yes.
When I did my first project, because I was new and my crew was primarily men, what I
Mm,
noticed is, they was trying to dominate, and they was trying to to and I'm open for suggestions, but
right.
it was like, no, this is the way it's supposed to be. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this, and I'm like, well, hold on. We're gonna do my idea because this is my project. And sometimes you have
Right.
to put your foot down because some people feel like they know more, which they probably
Mm,
do, but you're not gonna learn and you're not gonna get your ideas out if your ideas are tainted. You know.
yes.
And so I had to fight a little bit and show my strength. It was kind of funny because you don't want to come across as a B. If you're too
Right.
aggressive, they're like, "Oh, she this." But you also can't come across as soft. So
No.
I had to play a medium. There were some parts in there during my filming where I did have to put my foot down and let you know, okay, I'm sweet, but don't cross me. Like, don't do
Right.
that because you will see a
It's
whole.
not easy over here.
Right. So, yeah, that was my experience with it. It is male dominating, but you got to do what you got to
I love it. I love it. That's just
do.
inspiration. What would you say to other, whether they're writers, creatives who are looking to get into the space? What's one piece of advice that you could give to them that you wish someone would have given to you?
um, well, the advice I would give is don't wait on nobody else, just do it. Like, you don't have
Mm.
to wait for the perfect situation. I did not got some in my throat, sorry.
You're fine. You okay?
Yeah. I did not have a clue how to do a film at all.
Mm.
I knew that I wanted to do a film. I had I had came from the music world, then I did a play, and then I said I was going to do a web series. And I did 13 episodes, but then when I found out how much it was going to cost
Mm.
to put all of those projects out, I said, okay, yeah, we're going to have to condense this. So I condensed it into a feature film. But
Mm.
what I am very proud of is that, I didn't let anything stop me from going after my dreams. You can have so many roadblocks, and you can get to that roadblock and that just completely make you turn all the way around, and you be like, well, if I can't do it, I ain't got
Right.
the funding. Okay, well, you ain't got the funding, figure out how you're going to get the funding. Well, I can't get the
Mm-hmm.
locations. Well, you need to write a film and have it set for places that you can get into. So don't write above your means if you know that you can't. If you're writing a film and it's about space, and you know that you can't resemble anything that looks like a space. Don't write about that at that time. Write about
Right.
something that's in your house that you can shoot in your bedroom, or you can shoot in your living room, or your cousin got a
Mm.
barbershop. Make a scene that's about a barbershop. Use the things that you know that you
Nice.
can use, and then go to the people or your friends that have those skills that can help you. It's not especially on your first one, it's about getting the product out there so people can see what you can do, what your ideas are. I mean, I can tell you all day, hey, I write, hey, I produce, hey, I direct, but until you actually have something for people to see, people are visual. You're just
Right.
talking. So you have to do the work. And you can't let anything be an excuse. People are making films on their cameras. Now, will those films go to Netflix? Probably not. But they can
Okay.
still, the point is, they can still get out there. You can still show your work. You can still put it, in festivals and whatever the case may be. You can still get it out there. But you're not going to get anything out there if you don't do the work.
I love that. Just get out there, just get started. I think so many times you get stuck and
Yep.
you sometimes you can create so many, barriers in your own mind on why you can't do it that it can really prevent you from moving forward. This is gonna be a good place. Hold on to that drink. We're gonna take a pause. We're gonna take a minute, just take a little sip from our cup and try to figure out some things. And I'm gonna ask you a question in a second. So we both go, here we go.
Okay.
Cheers.
Here's.
Girl. Um, for a second, we're just gonna talk about what's in our cup. And our cup can symbolize so many different things. And right now, what I feel in my cup is gratitude. This weekend, with the bridge builders, we were able to go to Perryville Correctional Facility, and we were able to put on a program for the inmates there. And when I tell you that thing was just so impactful, just the way that the connection and the bond was there between the bridge builders and the inmates, it was just really powerful. And the reception and how they received everything. And so, what's in my cup right now is gratitude. What's in my cup at this moment is thankfulness. What's in my cup at this moment is also pushing me further to just continue to run and catch my dreams, because the things that I'm wanting, they're possible. And so I'm just having that spirit of gratitude, thankfulness, all that kind of get up and go, sis type energy. It was something that poured into me. And that's one thing about service. When you give, or you extend yourself, you're not taking away from yourself. You're actually not just helping that person, but you're actually benefiting yourself because it just feels good. So
Yep.
that's what's really in my cup. And so, Butter B Rock, I want you to take a moment and think and tell us, what's in your cup.
My cup is actually the same. I am so grateful for all of the people that has poured into my life, that sees my visions and rocks with me. I come up with a lot of ideas, and I'll call my girlfriends or my friends or my husband, and I'll be like, "Look, this is what I'm gonna do. We're gonna do a whole film. We're gonna do a film festival. We're gonna do a podcast." And they're like, "Let's go." I,
I
I just
love it.
I just
I,
completed
I
my
love
first,
it.
thank you. I just completed my first gospel album, gospel contemporary album. Have never done a
Congratulations.
gospel album a day in my life. And I woke up, I said, look, this is what I'm going to do. I called the producers. This is what I want to do. It still needs to be butter. I need to be authentic with my words. But yeah, I want to do this. And so I am just grateful that people don't be like, this girl is crazy. She got her hands in everything, and she want us to come
Girl,
along on all of the rides with her. But
babe,
my
I'm
people, they
telling you, you
rock
got an
with me.
amazing tribe. Your tribe ain't
Yeah,
looking at your side eyes. They looking at like this girl that lost her mind. That's how
yeah,
my tribe be looking at
yeah,
me, because I'm the same way. I'm gonna think of 1,000 different things. They'll rock with it, but they giving me the side eye the whole time. Like, what is this girl getting ready to have us on now? So the fact that your family and support group is just like, yes, they here for it. I love that energy. So let me just give your family some love and your friends.
yeah.
They're like, let's just do it. I love it. I
Between
love it.
between my family and my friends, my close friends, every project that I do, whether I'm doing again from my podcast, when I did my books, when I did the magazine, when we did my film festival, when I said, "Hey, I want to do a film. I'm about to do a short film." Anytime I call them for a project, they say, "What do I need to do?" And what I do is I look at the strengths that they have and we put them
Mm.
in those areas. This is because I always need help because I'm always doing something. So if you're listening, I always need help. I need
I
help.
saw
So
your post too. You were doing so. I was like, if I would have been in that area, I would have been like, hey, yeah, I could come by and do X, Y, Z. I just
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, man.
The fact
I'm
that you're
always
so
trying to escalate.
authentic, it makes you feel approachable. And you
Yeah.
are approachable, but it makes people feel like, well, she's approachable. And she
Yeah.
is.
I mean, you have not because you ask not, right?
Talk
And
about it,
so,
sis.
right. And so like even with my BBR indie films, I did it for a need because people in the filming industry, we sometimes don't get, as indies, we don't get that opportunity to see our films in movie theaters, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I put my film in the movie theater because I you see yourself, I see myself where I want to see myself, right? And I
Mm.
put myself in those rooms. And so I wanted to see my personal film next to the Black Panthers, next to the
Yeah.
whatever is out there, right? So I put my film in the movie theater. And so then after I did that, that feeling was so it was so alive. It was just amazing, right? So I
Mm.
wanted to put that out there to other filmmakers. So I started the film festival. I have people in the industry that are major people in the industry, from distribution companies to casting agencies to producers, Emmy
Mm.
award winning writers and directors. And I bring out attorneys, and I bring out just a lot of different people, right? And they come and they pour into us, the
Yes.
indie community. And I was able to open it up because there was a need and a necessity for it. And the questions that we all have, they know the answers because they've done it. So, put the right people in the right spaces so that we can
Yes.
learn and so that we can all pull each other up. Like everybody's like, well, how do I get into film? How do I do this? How do I do that? Okay, well, let me put the people so that you can know how to do it. Because I
Love
might
it.
not be able to tell you because I've only done it one or two times, but this person has done it and got 16 Grammys or 16
Wow.
Emmys. So
Wow.
you'll listen a little bit more to that person because they're in the position that you want to be in. So let me put all these people together so that we can learn. So you
I
have not
love
because you
that.
ask not. And I look at, I always pose questions on my pages when we have our panelists that's going to be there to see what type of questions and what are we as the indie community missing, or what type of questions and things do we need to have answers to, and then I try to bring the people on that can answer those type of questions.
First of all, you said so many gems. Let me just try to see if I could just catch one real quick. You said, I see myself where I see myself, and I put myself in those rooms. That's powerful right there. I mean, because so many times, it's our limiting beliefs that keeps us from accessing that next level.
Yeah.
So I see myself where I see myself, and I put myself in those rooms. Powerful. I love it.
Thank
You have not because you ask not. That's just scriptural. You know what I'm saying? And so many times, the ask prevents us from getting the blessing.
you.
As
Hmm.
a woman, because we all feel that burden. We are the silent soldiers. We'll be hurting on the battlefield and we won't say nothing, right? We
Right.
just feel like we have that cross to bear. What's kept you, strong in your faith and in your ability to also be transparent at the same time? And I'm gonna come back around to talk about that gospel album because we definitely want people to support and to go out and find that as well. But what's kept you to be able to keep your faith and your transparency as you're dealing with just day-to-day life, day-to-day struggles?
Oh man, let me just tell you, it's hard because you, well, I will speak on myself.
Girl, I'm
It's
saying you
like,
preaching for the choir.
right, it's like sometimes I'm extra positive, and the spirit is talking to me, and I'm just
Mhm.
going. I'm so inspired. But then you have those other times where I swear it's like the devil be trying to, come into your mindset,
Yes.
uh, and
Girl.
mess with me, and he's like, nah, you think you're gonna get there, you're never gonna accomplish that. And he talks to me too. So
Mm-hmm.
I have to keep myself grounded. I have to keep my mind on the right things. So I'm
Yes.
listening to the inspirational messages. I'm listening to the Joel Osteen, the Les Browns, and
Yes.
all of these different people, so that I can weed out, and not weed out, but so that I can block out, rather,
Mm-hmm.
all of those
Okay.
noises, because you're going to have things creep into your mind. Well,
Absolutely.
I have things creep into my mind, but what keeps me
Girl, that's
grounded.
all of us. You preaching for the choir, baby. That's all of us. We all. I don't care what level you're at. You have your own.
Yeah. Um, can you hear me? Because it sounded like we just went silent.
Sorry, my technology started
Oh,
technology.
it's okay. It's live, and we being honest
Girl, talk
right now.
about it. They getting it raw in the cut. But tell us where we can find your album, what the name of it is, where it's streaming, so people can pick it up.
Okay, so I have not released it yet, and that's the beauty too.
Okay,
I just
okay.
recorded my. Okay, I was running from the church. I ain't gonna lie, I was running, and I have. So what happened was I used to go to church, and at this time we had a guest pastor that came, and this guest pastor, he basically said that people were being hypocrites. They were in church on Sundays and on the weekends, Saturdays and stuff. They in the clubs, and so I'm in my 20s at this time, and it made me pull away from the church. I stopped singing in the choir. I kind of stopped going to church, but I also started going on tour. But I made that as the excuse. I'm on tour, and so when I come home on Saturday night, I get home early Sunday morning. Of course, I'm too tired, so I didn't go to church. So I was running for a long time, and it was probably like 6 or 7 months ago. I was in my neighborhood walking, and just like me and you talking right now, God said, "When you gonna stop running?" And I had just met like 2 days prior to a young lady that was telling me about a church that was over
Mm-hmm.
near my area. So I went to that church,
Okay.
and the pastor said, "Now it's time to stop running." Right? So I was like, "Oh my God," like he's straight up
He
talking to
talking
me.
to me.
I just had this conversation with God, just sat in the house for a whole hour crying
Mm.
after God spoke to me. And then I go to this church, and the man talks about running, stop running. Right. So I'm like, okay, it's time for me to join. So I joined the church, and I'm going to be very, I'm being transparent. I'm going to be very transparent. Joined the church. I was very excited. First thing, of course, I want to do is join the choir, because I want to give my voice. This is the area that I know I want to sing to God. Right.
Yes.
The church was like, okay, well, send us over some of your clippings, and we'll get back with you.
Wait.
That threw me off, because
Huh?
with churches,
What?
I
What?
told you,
What they do that?
right. It was kind of like I had to audition. So it threw me off. And the church has a lot of, they got some great singers and everything. It's more of like a praise and worship. It's not, I guess back in the day, it was like full of churches. When you want to sing in the choir, you sing in the choir. You want to sing soprano, you sing alto, and they put you in the choir. Y'all learn the songs.
Right.
You go sing. Well, this was a praise and worship. They didn't have, I guess, a choir. So you had to audition, or you had to send stuff in to get approved to get into this one. And
But I
so,
know you lying because that should have just went right. I don't cause for the debate or question.
yeah, it it was different. So I ended up they ended up not calling me, or they called me, but I had to wait. They was like, well, you have to come to the rehearsals. Well, how long do I got to come to the rehearsals before I can sing with you guys? Well, it takes a couple of months for us to get you in. So I asked one of the ladies there, I said, well, how long have you been coming to the rehearsals? Girl, she been coming to the rehearsals for like 5 months, and they still hadn't let her sing with the choir. So they wouldn't let her sing. So I said, okay,
Girl.
so I'm not doing that. And so it started feeling
Right.
political. And all I want to do is just sing
Mm.
to God. I just want to sing, use my voice. I thought that I had to choose. I thought that you couldn't sing R&B and also love God, because how that man made me feel. So I thought I had to choose, but I don't have to choose. I don't have to choose nothing. I can still love God and still sing whatever I sing, because God knows my heart, right? So that made me say, well, I don't want to sing. I don't even want to sing with this church anymore. I don't even want to be with this church. I'm gonna just sing to God and create my own album. So that's how the album came about. And you're getting all the butter.
Girl.
I'm not traditional in any way. I'm not gonna act like I'm traditional, because I'm not traditional. But what I am
Got
is
it.
authentic, and I have a relationship with God. And so I did this album. I'm super excited. I actually just met with a label today. And I got a couple of more meetings. I wasn't even thinking about labels, none of that, but I've had so many. It's so crazy when you just give yourself to God, doors start opening. So things have been moving and situations have been coming to me off of this project that I wasn't even expecting. I literally just wanted to sing to God. So the album is done.
Mm.
We just finished. I have not put it out yet. I'm ready to have a
Yes.
focus group. Thank you. I'm about to do a focus group so that I can see, which of the album, which one should be. I have one that I believe should be the single, but I'm
Okay.
going to do a focus group to see which one other people that are in the industry that have Grammys and that are big execs that I know that are my friends can all, give me their opinion on and which order should I do it in and stuff like that. And then I'm going to have
Nice.
a listening party to the public. And I'm also
Nice.
going to do a live recording of the album. So I'm going to have two different
Wow.
versions of the album. So I mean, when I say I am super excited, but
I
who
feel,
knew I was going to go this
girl,
route?
you are doing some amazing things. So you said it's going to be a listening party and you're doing a live record. So where are you going to do this at? You going to do it in Atlanta?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it here in Atlanta, and I'm actually, as soon as I finish this interview, I got another meeting because I'm looking at venues and stuff like that now.
Girl, I gotta
Yeah,
try to figure out my whole life so I can see what my schedule looking like. So I gotta come down here for something. I was saying like, okay, the next time she does something, I'm gonna try to go down there and show up. But now you got the concert. I gotta try to figure out which my
I
way my
know,
life is
right?
going because that is just amazing.
Yeah,
Sis, I want to
I'm
say
really excited.
congratulations,
Thank you,
congratulations.
thank you, thank
And
you.
then when it goes live, I'm gonna make sure that I share it to everybody. Make sure you get my girls out. Make sure you go ahead and pick it up because it's important to be able to support women of faith, women that are just of color as well, because we just go through so much, and just to see the strength, the resiliency, the determination that you didn't allow these things to deter you. You didn't allow it to stop in your path, and them even just dealing with your own the accident and coming back and having the mindset just to continue to pick up and go. So many times people just get discouraged. What was something that kept you going when you felt like, I was in this space and now I'm coming back to this space and things are different and you made all this progress? What was a thought or a thing that came to mind or even a mantra, something that you were telling yourself that really kept you going during those times?
It was that I can do all things through Christ. Like I
Yes.
just had to keep telling that to myself because so I've had two accidents.
Mm.
I've had the accident which left me drinking from the straw for 6 months, and then I was able to pick myself up, start touring, and went on about my life. And then in 2019, I fell, torn meniscus, torn ACL, dislocated my shoulder. Um, that left me. Um, that left me walking with a walker for 3 months, walking with a cane for two
Mm.
months. I had to do physical therapy 3 times a week for an entire year. And there was so many setbacks, there was so many
Mm.
setbacks. And it was Les Brown who called me on the phone after I had that fall. And he says, I know that may think that this is a setback, but your setback is a setup for something greater. And
Mm.
I just kept believing that, I just kept believing that. I'm like, okay, something is going to come from this. And it forced me to have to pivot. I mean,
Yeah.
had I not failed, I would only be doing music all my life,
Wow.
but because I fell and had to sit there and had to sit quiet
Mm.
and had to think about, well, what other strengths do I have? And music isn't
Mm.
the only thing that defines me. And so
Come on
I
now.
had to realize that. So the books wouldn't have been written. I wouldn't have did a
Mm.
play. I wouldn't have started my podcast. My podcast is on six syndicated stations overseas.
Talk
Who
about
knew?
it, sis.
Like who knew? You can't even
Wow.
make this stuff up. I wouldn't have wrote a film. I wouldn't have started a film festival. Like all of these things came because I had to sit your butt down and figure it out. and not be afraid to pivot.
You know what? I think that that's such an empowering message because so many times we think that the setback is, the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Curtain closed. But if it had not been for what was perceived as a setback, then you wouldn't have been able to unlock all these various areas of
Yep.
talent in your life. You know what I mean? So it took that to be able to develop that. And so I think that that's just an empowering and inspiring message. And so those of you who are listening out there, y'all gotta listen to Bold to Be Rock because she's telling you, hey, sometimes that setback is an opportunity for your setup. And we can't just gloss over the fact that Les Brown called you because I love that man, okay?
Me
That
too.
man got me through some personal tragedies and I was
Me
feeling
too.
like all hope is lost. I mean, his words and his voice and the timbre in his voice just makes you feel like, it's possible. I could, I'll be hearing him in my head. So
Yeah.
you got I'm listening to him on the recording, but you listening to him live in real life. What is that like for you to be able to have someone like that pour into you and saying, "Hey, look, I see you. Hey,
It's
this is not over."
Yeah, it's amazing what's so crazy on how that relationship even came about. After I fell with the torn meniscus, torn ACL, dislocated shoulder, I still had shows. I still had to go to Vegas. I still had to go to LA, which he was on the show, the same show in LA. I still had to go to Mexico, and I still had to go to Chile.
Wow.
So I went to LA. Had I not went to LA, I wouldn't have met him. I met him in the restaurant. People were coming over to me because I had been there several days, and that day was the day of my performance. And so people was coming over to me and talking to me and everything, asking me about the show. And I saw him over there sitting down. So I went over to him and I told him I listened to him every day. I literally, for real, listen to him every day.
Yeah,
And
I did.
I had just finished listening to him. And so I told him it was an honor to meet him. And I said, by the way, Dr. Bartlett says hello. And he said, you know Dr. Bartlett? I said, yes, I do. He said, give me her number. This is why you got to make sure you tell them the truth when you talk. Number
You
one.
better.
But
Better
he
take them
asked me to give
receipts.
me right. He asked me to give the number, and he said, "How do you know her?" I said, "She flew me over to Bahamas to perform for the Prime Minister." And he
Mm.
was like, oh, "Okay." And so he said, "You live here in LA?" I said, "No, sir. I live in Atlanta." He says, "Well, I live in Atlanta too. I'm in Alpharetta." I said, "I'm in Marietta." He said, "Well, give me your number." So
Nice.
I gave him my number and well he gave me his number and then and he said let's connect. So when
Mm.
I was leaving, I accidentally called him while I was getting my food to sit down. So I hung up. And so now I'm back in my room getting ready, doing my vocal warm-ups and everything, and he calls me on the phone. He's like, "Hello, this is Les Brown." And and I said, "Oh, I am so sorry. I called you by accident." He said, "You called me by accident, but I'm calling you on purpose."
I
And
know that's right, Les Brown. Talk
right.
about
It
it.
was wonderful. It was wonderful. And he said, "Are you staying at the hotel?" I said, "Yes, sir. They put me up in the hotel." He says, "Well, I am too." He said, "I want you to come to my room. I want you to meet my daughter. She's a designer. I want her to make some gowns for you." So, of
I
course, I
know that's
went,
right.
went, met the daughter, met his assistant, and she took my measurements so she could make, stuff for me. So that's how the relationship formed. Now, fast
Mm.
forward, I'm back in Atlanta. We would speak here and there and everything. And then I would come and see him every once in a while with the boys and everything. And then when I fell, he called me on the phone because, like I said, we've been speaking. So he called me on the phone and he told me, about the setup for something greater. It's not a setback. And then, but I'm not working now, because I'm ready to
Mm.
be out for a whole year because of this knee surgery. So he told me to come over and he says, well, I know that you're an artist and everything and you got your own stuff going on, but while you're recovering, why don't you come and work with me? So I started working with him for 8 months, side by
Wow.
side, from his stream yard to all of his editing, all of his paperwork. So I was handling a lot of stuff behind the scenes for him. I even helped him move into his house, found him the house that he was staying in and everything.
Nice.
Yeah, my family is very, very close to his family, but he's
Nice.
he's like my spiritual father now. But none of that would have came about had I let that blockage of falling stop me.
Mm, mm. I love that. So don't let that blockage of falling stop you. That's what
Right.
just let that marinate, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let it stop you. Just we talked about the fact that you're an amazing artist. You're an author. We talked about the fact that you direct. But what we haven't addressed in the time that we have left is the fact that you do act. You do act. Um, what is that like being in front of the camera, not singing, as you normally would be doing, but you're acting? What is that like for you, and how do you mentally prepare for a role?
I will tell you this. Acting is a whole lot harder than singing to me.
Mm,
You have to embody that character,
yes.
and there's a lot of lines that you gotta learn. There's a whole lot of
Yes.
lines that you have to learn, and you have to have the connection with whoever you're doing the scene with. So the chemistry has to be right and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to feed off of each other. And
Mm-hmm.
they might miss a word, and it might not be verbatim, but there's keywords that they have to say that will make the next person be able to say their lines to make it make
Right.
sense and everything. So I have a major respect for actors and actresses
Mm.
after I started really diving into all that it takes. I mean, when you're singing, you're on stage, you on stage for just that minute, or for that hour, or for that 30 minutes, and then you're done. Acting, just to get the scene, just to get that one scene, you're doing the same line over and over for about 2 hours, 2 3 hours on just that scene, and then you got to move to the next scene, and then you're
Mm.
shooting for 15-20 days at 12
Wow.
hours to 16 hours, and then you get right back up and do it again, and then you gotta, if you're shooting the same scenes, your outfits got to be the same, the continuity got to be the same, your hair got to be the same, the
Wow.
makeup got to be the same, because you're shooting on different days, but it got to look like it's the same day. So it's a lot.
Mm.
I have a major respect for actors, and I love it. I love being challenged. I love
Wow.
being able to be someone else. I love, embodying who that character is. I make sure that when I'm studying a line, or figuring out who my character is, I really try to do like a backstory on,
Mm.
well, who is this person? Why did they write this character? And,
Right.
what's her story in the story? You know what I mean? So
Mm.
I try to make sure that I bring out, whoever I am at that moment.
Girl, that's powerful. I love that. I love that. And I love the fact that you're just giving it into the art and you're really diving in deep and trying to unpack that character and
Mhm.
you all those various aspects to bring it to life. And that's just powerful. What's next for you? You're doing all these things, you got all of this stuff going on. But what's next for you? What should we be on the lookout for?
Well, I host my bi-monthly, I'm sorry, BBR Indie Films at Studio Movie Grill in Marietta, Georgia. So that's coming up. My next one is on November 13th. And it's star-studded. We got Rashawn Ali, we from All the Queen's Men. We have Miles Truer from BMF, Stranger Things. I have the
Nice.
freaking president of the Recording Academy for the Atlanta chapter going to be there.
Girl.
Um, I have Javon Johnson from the Oval going to be there. I have Demetria McKinney from House of Pain going to be in the building. So we're getting ready for that. I think
Girl.
we ended up having 106 submissions. So our team, is
Mm.
shifting through all of the films, trying to figure out which ones we're going to premiere and
Mm-hmm.
everything. So I'm getting ready for that. I'm getting ready to release the album. I'm doing a short slash music video
Okay.
that I'm about to do. I'm
Nice.
ready to do a film that I just wrote. Directing someone else's music video is coming up.
What?
And I'm getting ready for the concert because, again, I'm going to have a listening party and I'm going to do a
Mm.
live recording. And with that live recording, I'm also going to do video. So I'm going to have that on a streaming platform as well. So, yeah, I just got a couple things. Just a couple.
Girl, you talk about it, you got some serious things. It ain't just a couple things. You got a lot going on. So it's
Yeah.
a lot for us to look forward to in 2024 and 2025. Obviously, these things
Yeah.
are just going to continue to go ahead. And so that's just amazing that you're able to keep your drive, keep your creativity, you know, challenging yourself to experience new things. And even when you feel like you've done this, you're still reaching and redeveloping yourself and reaching out for that next thing. And so you're just an inspiration to watch.
Thank
Tell us
you.
where we can listen to your podcast too, so we can make sure that
Mm.
people go ahead and check that out as well.
You can listen on. I'm on iHeartRadio.
Mm.
On the Transparency Talks podcast. I am on a station. Soul City to Beat in Italy. I'm on London's Energy Radio in London. I'm in Nigeria, South Africa, Canada. I'm on
They
Empowerment.
said I'm worldwide at this
Right,
point.
right. Worldwide. I'm on
I love it.
Empowerment Network on Roku, so you can listen there for Transparency Talks podcast. And I'm on all of the digital platforms for Transparency Talks podcast. You can find out more about BBR Indie Films at bbrindiefilms.com. And that's INDIE films with an S.com. And you can find everything under Butta B Rocka on all social media at Butta BUTTA, B as in boy, ROCKA, everywhere. So
Girl, talk about it. Sis got things going. She said she is booked and busy. Like you gotta set up a serious appointment. I mean, that's amazing.
I am
I just
never
want to
too
say
busy for
kudos.
you. Never
I'm
too
gonna
busy
say
for
this. Let me just say that, cause when I say my sis made me feel welcome, my baby made me feel welcome. I said I don't want to be bugging her. Let me just ask her this, and she's just so calm and so yeah, girl. Like I'm like okay, babe, I feel so good right now. You didn't know it, but I was cheesing in the airport when I was talking to you. And I was like, did I make a mistake when I saw you were calling? I'm like, did I make a mistake and call her? She gonna be thinking I'm crazy. And I said, wait a minute, it's ring. I said, because I was, you know how you doing stuff in the airport. I said, I must have made a mistake and called her. But then I'm talking to you. I'm like, she is just so calm, so sweet, so lovable, so enduring. I mean, you just give off so many great vibes. And like I said, it's just an honor and inspiration to see you doing all the things that you're doing, sis. I wish nothing but the best for you. We
thank
are
you.
definitely gonna have to collaborate. I'm gonna have something going on that I have got to put my girl in. And the next thing, I know I can't make it in November, but the next time that you have something going on, sis, save me a ticket because I'm definitely gonna come down and
Okay,
support.
I would love for you to. Where are you at?
Girl, I'm in Milwaukee. Way in Milwaukee. You know,
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And Dr. Velma back, we always say, is it black people in Milwaukee? I'm like, yes. And so I saw our little running joke. But yeah, it's definitely people of color up there. But I definitely would love to connect and actually meet you in person because we've done the
Yeah.
virtual, but I would love to be able to connect with you in person. Last thing before we get ready to wrap up, this episode is brought to you by your girl. She said yes to herself unapologetically. And Miss Butterby Rocka is definitely a woman who says yes to herself unapologetically. One of the mantras in here is a boundary a day keeps insanity away. What's a mantra that you say to yourself that makes you unapologetically you?
A mantra that I say to myself.
Mm-hmm.
It, it really is. I can do all things.
Girl,
Like I
talk
say that
about it.
over and
She said, I'm
over.
standing on that. She's standing
Yeah,
on business.
yeah. I can do
That's
all
such an
things.
empowering scripture.
Yeah. And another thing that I always tell myself, because again, sometimes I have the self-doubt that tries to creep
Mm-hmm.
in, and you'll see somebody else and you'll feel like you're not supposed to be in that room or you're not worthy,
Mm.
that type of stuff. So I tell myself I'm worthy. I am worthy just
Yes.
like you worthy. I'm worthy to be in this room. I am. So,
Mm. I'm worthy. I
yep.
love it. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys heard it here first. I'm with the amazing, the talented, the sensational Butter B Rocker. Make sure that you support my girl. Go out and check out her podcast. Follow her for her new music. Make sure you definitely check out BBR Independent Films and show my girl some love because she's doing some amazing things. I want to thank everybody for watching, and y'all have a rest of the great day. And we out of here.
Thank you so much for having me on your platform. I truly appreciate you letting me speak to you and to your audience. Thank you.
Sis, I love you. We gonna keep